Just a heads up, when Unit 6 test is going to be very similar to what you saw on that CFA on Monday. Very similar to what you saw, okay? All right, so if you did pretty well on that, you should feel pretty confident. Okay, the first question that we're gonna talk about, let's say you have nickels and dimes. Okay, and let's say that you have 45 coins in your pocket with a total of $1.55 in your pocket. So write down this information, and then we're going to talk through how to solve it. So we're going to write the equation of this. Okay, so how many cents is a nickel? Until the government changes it. 5 cents, right? Well, you know how we're going to digital currency? It's a long story. All right, so 5 cents times are how much? Okay, so 0.1, right? All right. So let's say that N is going to represent nickels and D is going to represent dimes. So the way to write out the equation for this would be, we have nickels plus dimes, and the total number of coins is going to be 45. Then you just told me that each nickel is 5 cents, and each dime is going to be 0.1. Our total number of dollars and cents is $1.55. I think you just mentioned on your Delta math, it does ask you to do a next step, which is to solve. This question just asks you to write the equation. Let's talk about chocolates and candy. Yeah. Let's say, for instance, my mother takes me to the Walmart. I don't know why there's a the in front of that. And she says you can get at least, well, you need to get at least one of each. And then she said you can have no more than 10 pieces. Okay, so I'm at the store. I got chocolate and candy. She says I gotta grab at least one of each, but I can't have more than 10. I don't know why my mother would make me go eat chocolate and candy, but that's okay. Okay. Could be less than that, right? So the first thing that we want to do is assign variables. So chocolate is going to be C and candy is going to be Y. Now, how would I write the inequality for this scenario? Okay, so at least one is going to be C is greater than or equal to 1, and Y is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, and then what about the no more than 10 pieces? You add them together, and then less than or equal to 10. Good. Okay, let's say that we were selling iPhones and Androids, because I can't come up with a better example. Okay, and let's say that you have to sell at least 60 of each iPhone. Okay, so I have to sell at least 60 iPhones. Okay. And the iPhone costs, let's say, $200. And Android sells for 100. And they want you to sell no more than 500. Let's see that. Worth of material. Quick, I apologize. So you have iPhones and Androids. You can sell no more than 10 phones in total. Okay, so that's a combination of iPhone and Androids. And each iPhone costs $200. Each Android costs 100, and you can sell no more than $1,000. Okay. All right. So I changed a couple of things on here. first thing we want to do is we want to create inequalities. Okay. So let's look at this first one. It says sell no more than 10 iPhones. I'm sorry, 10 phones in general. So what is that inequality going to look like? Sell no more than 10 phones. Let's say iPhones are X, Androids are Y. So we got, there you go, boom. All right, what about the next kind of sentence? We got 200 per iPhone, 100 per Android, and no more than 1,000. So how do we write that inequality? Okay. No more than 1,000, right? So it's got to be less than 1,000. Is we're going to take this and we want to find a solution for this. So I'm going to take these two inequalities and I'm going to go into Desmos and I'm going to use my graphing calculator on this one. And I'm going to type this into Desmos. Say what? Okay. I'm going to clear off this really quick. I'll put it back in just a second. All right. We need to find a solution. Can we have 0 iPhones or Androids? No. Great. So where we would look for our solution would be right in here where it crosses over. Okay. So right here, if I combine red and blue, what color does that make? Purple. Yay. So anything that's in here would work. So like for instance, 2, 4. What does that point represent? How many iPhones and how many Androids? So 2 iPhones and 4, somebody kept saying 6, 4 Androids. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. That was very similar to the question about the wagon. Do you remember that question? Very similar to that question. Number 4, I think that's what we're on. If I had f of x equals 2 to the x plus 2 plus 5, and I had g of x equals the absolute value of x plus 3 minus 3, and I said, what are the solutions to the problem? How would you go about doing this? Okay, good. So I would plot this in Desmos, wherever they cross over. Boom, that's your answer. So we're going to do that in just a second. Into Desmos. Yay, Desmos. Okay, so we're going to take that. We're going to plug it in. So 2 raised to the x plus 2. Don't forget, when you do exponents, put parentheses around it. Okay, so as I'm looking here, how many times does it cross over? 1 time. And what x value does it cross over at? Say that one. X equals negative 11.000. I'm just 2 zeros. Okay. Okay. If I told you that I had this inequality and yeah, this is 2. So sorry. I'll read it off in a second. And I said, what is the minimum value if you're given this equation? Okay, so we have x is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0, and then we have x plus 2y is greater than or equal to 15, and x plus 3y is greater than or equal to 9. Okay, You have this equation right here, 1.5 times x plus 2.5 times y, and we're trying to find the minimum value of e. So we're trying to find the smallest value of e. This is where your vertices, we talked about this the other day, is going to come into play. So you're going to take these four things, plug it into Desmos, and look at where like the boundaries are. So like where everything kind of crosses over, and you're looking for the minimum value after you plug in those x, y values. So this one's a little bit longer. Take a moment, write this down. See, so what I do is I like to take off the x is greater than or equal to, and y is greater than or equal to. So if I combine green and purple, it's going to be this region right here. We're trying to make the minimum value. So that's probably going to be either 0.0, 7.5 or 15, 0. So what you'll do is plug both of those into this equation to see which value gives you the lowest amount. We got 0, 7.5 and 15, 0. So 1.5 times 0.5. Oh, nope. Okay. Or 0. So the one that would give it the smallest amount would be 0, 7.5. Again, we're going to go over this one tomorrow, so don't stress.